Welcome to the Endo Belly Girl podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Chavez. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner and restorative wellness practitioner on a mission to change the way that we support women with endometriosis. Endo is a full-body disease that impacts your mind, body, and spirit in countless ways that aren't often addressed the way that women truly deserve. We are here to talk about all of it. Please keep in mind that the content of this show has been created for educational purposes only and should never be used as a replacement for medical diagnosis or treatment. Hey, my friend, and welcome back to the Endo Belly Girl podcast. So, we talk a lot about nutrition for endo on this podcast. As a functional nutritionist, it is, of course, one of my favorite things to talk about. But today, we're going to flip the script and do something a little bit different because we are going to focus on what not to do. So this came about because, just conversations I've had with clients and my members within my Endo Wellness Initiative membership, and also just things that I see sometimes in the Endo Facebook groups and other platforms where I hear people talk about this stuff. And these are just some of the recurring mistakes that I see people make that, it's one of those things you don't know until you know. So I'm just bringing these to light because I think everybody thinks they're doing the best things for their body. We're all doing our best. But I thought if I bring some of these common mistakes that I see to light, it will help you on your endo journey to avoid these, some of these pitfalls that I see frequently. So we're going to dig in today to the top 8 mistakes that I often see people make for endo nutrition. All right, so let's dig in. Mistake number 1 that I see frequently, doing an elimination diet that never ends. Now, an elimination diet can be a great strategy to pinpoint your unique food sensitivities, but it's intended to be a short-term process. You want to have an exit strategy. You want to have a reintroduction plan, right? An elimination diet typically takes 3-4 weeks, maybe a little bit longer if you're eliminating foods while you're doing some gut healing. That's something that I do sometimes with my clients. But you want to have a plan to reintroduce foods, right? That's part of the elimination diet, is that you then challenge and see how your body reacts to foods. Otherwise, you're just eliminating a lot of foods for a long period of time, and that can lead to nutrient deficiencies amongst other challenges that might come up around that, like, not being able to ever go out to eat or have fun with your friends, or, the mental health struggles that can come with eating a super restrictive diet. So if you're doing an elimination diet, which honestly is a great strategy for figuring out what foods are an issue for you, you have to have an exit strategy at the back end of that elimination diet. So that is number 1. Number 2, eating a lot of gluten-free products. Now, really there are 2 ways to do gluten-free. One is that you can focus on foods that naturally don't contain gluten. Or 2, you can focus your diet around a whole bunch of gluten-free packaged foods that contain a whole bunch of ingredients. Now, to be fair, there are some really good gluten-free packaged goods out there. There are some great companies who are doing some great work, who have products that are whole food based, that don't contain these seed oils and sugar. But there's also a lot of products out there that just plain suck, right? Because the whole idea behind gluten-free is to help your body to calm down the inflammation and remove one of those foods that can really be a major trigger for a lot of people. But if you're just replacing that with a whole bunch of chemicals and inflammatory oils and sugar, then you're not really doing your body a lot of favors. You're kind of just swapping out one evil for another. So this is one thing that I hear gluten-free people getting really excited about sometimes, is the fact that Oreos now makes a gluten-free version of Oreos. Now, before you get all excited and run to your nearest store to find that, I just wanted to share with you what's in the gluten-free Oreos. Okay, I actually looked up the ingredients as I was planning this episode. number one ingredient, sugar. And we know the first ingredient on an ingredients list means that's like the primary ingredient, sugar. White rice flour, tapioca starch, palm oil, soybean or canola oil, 2 thumbs down on that, whole oat flour, cornstarch, cocoa, invert sugar, more sugar, great, soy lecithin, I feel like I always say that wrong, baking soda, salt, xanthan gum, chocolate, and my favorite, artificial flavor. What is that? Nobody really knows. So yeah, it's not exactly a health food just because it's gluten-free. So my best advice on that is just, number one, focus primarily on actually eating whole foods. There are plenty of foods out there that just don't contain gluten. Pretty much any form of protein, fruits, veggies, that's like a whole lot of foods right there that just don't contain gluten. And sure, you can absolutely include some of the healthier, whole food-based processed and packaged foods. I do some of that myself. I'm a human that has a busy life, and sometimes it's nice just to have a snack that you can grab and take with you on the run, or to have something quick that you can grab. Great. But look at the ingredients list. Really familiarize yourself with ingredients lists and how to read them, and that way you can be that much more prepared and ready to feed yourself well. All right, number 3, eating carbs by themselves, even healthy ones like fruit. This one's all about blood sugar. No naked carbs is one of the principal rules. Now, why does blood sugar matter? Well, that's kind of a bigger conversation. I'm actually planning a whole episode on sugar and blood sugar that's going to come out in January. I figured it's a good time because that's the time we're all looking to kind of hit reset and coming out of the sugar season here that we're in, if you're listening to this in real time. But just know for the short term that blood sugar is really important for endo. It can contribute a lot if you have a lot of ups and downs in the blood sugar. It can really contribute to inflammation. It can have a wide array of impacts on your body. And I see this all the time where people will just grab a piece of fruit to eat as a snack, thinking that it's a nice, healthy snack. But then they have a lot of ups and downs in the blood sugar. They get a lot of blood sugar related symptoms. And it's just not a great cycle to be in. Now, I'm not saying don't have any fruit. That's not what I'm saying. Remember, we already talked about not eating an overly restrictive diet. I'm not about that. But the simple solution here is just to add some protein and or fat. And the same thing if you're eating other kinds of carbs, if you're going to have rice, if you're going to have some of the, gluten-free alternatives at times, cool. But pair it with some kind of protein and or fat. So for example, if you're going to have an apple, have some nut butter with it. If you're going to have some fruit, have some coconut yogurt with it. If you're going to have some carrot sticks, eat it with some hummus. Just simple add-ons like that so that you can enjoy the snack that you wanted to enjoy, but just pair it with some protein and or fat that will help to keep your blood sugar stable so you can avoid those spikes that are going to contribute to that inflammation in your body and just keep you healthier in general. Blood sugar is something that's way more important than most people think, and keeping that blood sugar stable throughout your day is going to make a huge difference in your life. Trust me on that. Okay, number 4, worrying more about supplements than diet. Supplements are intended to be just that, supplemental, right? That's right there in the word. And I would also like to remind you that you can't out-supplement a poor diet. You can't just eat whatever you want and then take some supplements and think that everything will be well. That's not really how it works. What you really want to do is focus on food first. Get tons of nutrients in your body. Eat a wide variety of vegetables and fruits and proteins so that you're getting all the nutrients that you need in through diet as much as humanly possible. And then you add in supplements supplementally as needed. You shouldn't need a supplement for everything. If you have a cabinet full of, 1,200 different supplements, you might need to rethink that. I am a functional nutritionist. if I'm honest, I do own a lot of supplements, and that's largely because I've experimented with a lot of things over the years. The more that I learn, the more that I kind of dabble in different things and try different things out, especially since I work with clients. I feel like I want to have a better idea of how supplements work and how they interact with the body. But that is my profession. First of all, this is what I do for a living. So knowing how supplements work is much more important to me than it is for you. And I will also say that at this point in time, I don't actually take a lot of supplements on a day-to-day basis. A lot of the supplements that I have are kind of just in case kind of things, or things that I maybe rotate in and out sometimes. I actually don't take a ton of capsules every single day at this point in time. I do take some, but I am not taking tons and tons of capsules because I'm really focused on my diet and just really working every day on getting all the nutrients that I can in my body. So supplements are great, but just remember that they are supplemental. All right, mistake number 5 that I see frequently: believing that diet doesn't make a difference for endometriosis. The truth here, my friend, you are what you eat. I got into the profession that I'm in because I found such a huge difference in diet, in changing the way that I ate. And the truth, too, is that your body needs nutrients to do absolutely anything: to digest food, to build hormones, to give you energy, to heal, to detoxify, even to pump your heart and your lungs. Any process in your body requires nutrients. And the only way that you're getting those nutrients into your body is by eating them, by absorbing them through your digestive tract. There are a few exceptions to that, like we know we can get vitamin D through the sunshine, but at the end of the day, we are not plants. We are human beings, and we need fuel that comes in through our mouth, through our digestive tract. And the more nutrients that you bring in, the more resources you have for your body. The way that I like to think of it is kind of like money. If you flood your bank account with money, if you just pour tons and tons of money into your bank account, you can have the resources to do whatever you want. You can go on a fancy vacation. You can buy a house. You can donate to a good cause. You have the resources to do whatever it is that you need or want to do. If you only bring in a few real dollars and the rest is maybe monopoly money, you're going to struggle. You're not going to have the resources to put a roof over your head and to have food in your belly every day and to put clothes on your body. And that's going to feel very stressful and uncomfortable in your life. I think many of us have, I certainly know I've experienced that, the not having enough money. I think most of us have. And the thing is that the same thing happens with food in your body. You need real nourishing food. You need to flood your body with nutrients and give your body the resources that it needs. Because let's be real, there's a lot of food out there on the market that isn't really food. I'm talking all the fake food, the processed foods. When you're just flooding your body with that, you might feel full, but you're not really getting the resources that you need. And over time, that can become an issue, especially when you have endometriosis. You kind of need extra nutrients to be able to heal tissues and to be able to detoxify things that you need to detoxify and to digest and all the things that we need to do. Your body needs resources for that. So yes, diet does make a difference. But there is a but on this, because this leads me into mistake number 6, the other end of the spectrum, believing that diet makes all the difference. Now, I'm a big fan of nutrition. I mean, I think if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you've kind of gathered that. But here's the thing. Diet is super important, but it's not everything. Just speaking personally, I have made huge changes in my diet and it has changed my life. But that's not all that I've done. I have also worked extensively on my gut health. I have made a ton of lifestyle changes. I've worked on detoxification. I've worked on my circadian rhythm. I've worked on movement. I've added meditation. So many things that I've added to my life. All the things that I work on with my one-on-one clients and within the Endo Wellness Initiative, my membership program. Plus, I did have an excision surgery as well a few years back, and I'm so happy that I did. Here's the thing. Diet lays a wonderful foundation, but it doesn't mean that you won't need to dig deeper to really get to the root of your symptoms. It's a huge piece of the puzzle, but it's not everything, right? And I hear so many people just trying to rely on diet, and sometimes that alone just isn't enough. So that's okay. All right, mistake number 7, eating an overly restrictive diet. Now, this goes back to what we were talking about in mistake number 1. I actually had a one-on-one client come to me not too long ago who had previously been on a super restrictive diet before she had been working with me. She had been vegan, gluten-free, whole food diet, and just all these things that she was adding on to that. And initially, she was telling me that she felt better, but later had really a downturn in her health and was feeling burnt out and exhausted and just really feeling worse than how she had started at the end of the day. And honestly, it's something that I see a lot because initially eliminating foods can feel really good. Oftentimes when you're eliminating processed foods and, some of the other stuff that we get in our diets, it might feel really good because then you're focusing instead on eating a lot of vegetables and getting whole foods in. And so you get that initial hit, you get addicted, you want to eliminate more and more and more so that you can eliminate more and more and more symptoms. And eventually you get to a place that's just not sustainable. And maybe you do end up eventually with nutrient deficiencies that will end up causing more symptoms at the end of the day. So it's a balancing act. That's what happened to this client. And now we spent time working on her gut health, tailored her diet to fit her life, and she's feeling so much better, eating way more foods than she had been before. And that's amazing. She's so much happier now. She feels like she has so much more freedom in her life and is feeling so much better physically and mentally and all the things with eating more foods rather than less. So, and I find that to be true frequently. All right, last but not least, mistake number 8, trying to pinpoint what one food is causing all of your symptoms. Okay, it's never just one thing. I feel like I say that a lot, and I'm going to continue to say that a lot because it's so important to hear as an endo warrior. It's not just one thing. There is not one food that caused all your endo symptoms. There isn't one food that's causing you to be in pain. Like we talked about earlier, food is only a piece of the puzzle anyway. It's not everything, and that's if you're looking at food as a whole, much less just one individual food. Endometriosis is complex. It's multifactorial. More than anything, it's an immune dysfunction and there's a systemic chronic inflammation component. And so one food just doesn't cause all that. I wish it were that simple. It would be so easy if I could hop on here and just say, hey, eliminate gluten and all your problems will be solved. But it's not that simple. There's just more to it than that. There's more layers to peel back. Food can absolutely contribute to inflammation and be a huge piece of that puzzle, but the solution is never as simple as we would all like it to be. I hate to be the bearer of bad news with that, but I just like to keep it real with you all. So there it is. It's not just one thing. All right, my friend, there are your 8 biggest nutrition mistakes that I see endo warriors make. I'll go through those quickly one more time in case you number 1 and 2 have fallen out by now. So number 1, doing an elimination diet that never ends. Mistake number 2, eating a lot of gluten-free processed products. Mistake number 3, eating carbs by themselves. Mistake number 4, worrying more about supplements than diet. Mistake number 5, believing that diet doesn't make a difference. Mistake number 6, believing that diet makes all the difference. Mistake number 7, eating an overly restrictive diet. And mistake number 8, trying to pinpoint what one food is causing all of your symptoms. So, take a moment. Sit back and think about, do any of these sound like you? Either now or in the past, wherever you are in your journey. If it does, that's okay. Don't feel bad. I made a lot of these mistakes myself. Ask me how I know what these mistakes are. I have been through a lot of these myself. And try just making some changes. Make one little change at a time and gauge how you feel. Gauge the changes in your body along the way. And if you feel like you need deeper support, you have questions on this stuff, you need help along your journey, there are always links available in the show notes to work with me one-on-one. You can schedule a free 30-minute consultation to just see if that would be a good fit. Or you can join in the Endo Wellness Initiative membership. If you're looking for something kind of more DIY and a lower cost option, that's always there for you as well. I like to have all the ways to support you wherever you are on your journey and whatever your budget allows at this time. I would love to see you there. I would love to be a part of your journey and see you improve along the way. All right, my friend, that's all I have for today. Have a wonderful day. Much love. Thank you so much for joining me today, my friend. If you loved what you heard, be sure to share with a friend and subscribe so that you can keep coming back for more. If you are ready to take the next step towards getting to the root cause of your endo symptoms like endo belly, pain, fatigue, and so much more, you need to download my free ultimate guide to building your own endometriosis diet. You can find the link in the show notes or at www.endobellygirl.com. Until next time, my friend.